All right, guys. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. This is the NBA Tournament Strategy Show, and today I have the one and only Mutt18. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm feeling good. Yesterday was an interesting slate. We can definitely touch on it, but definitely excited to dig into this slate as well. For those of you that don't know, this is the NBA Tournament Strategy Show where we do a quick look back at yesterday. We also look at today's slate. And then later today on the pre-lock show, we work on the implementation of what we're actually going to do on this slate. We'll talk through the leverage plays, who we're going to lower our exposures to, and core plays as well. But to be able to watch that show, you have to be a VIP member. So feel free to click the link in the description and use Mutt's promo code. Mutt, what is your promo code?
Mutt18. Easy to remember.
Mutt18. And you have a 10% discount when you use that. So definitely do that. All right, guys, let's talk about last night a little bit. This was the $100,000 winning lineup last night. Oddly enough, Luka was not on it. I was surprised by that. Anything stand out for you? Just kind of looking at this line yesterday, Mutt?
Yeah, that Mark Williams play. Nick Richards was active.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
Sometimes we just get the random stuff and I'm like, you know what? I was never going to play him and I'm okay with that. That just wasn't going to happen for me. If there's no injury news, I'm not playing a guy like Mark Williams. That's just not going to be my night.
I think I tweeted it too. I'm like, it was that Alonzo Mourning gif where he's shaking his head and then he just nods. I'm like, all right, Nick Richards is active, but Mark Williams has 9 and 7 in 6 minutes.
Yeah,
that makes
but it's
sense.
Really going to be him.
Yeah.
And one of Grayson said, yeah, I totally missed that, man. Nice freaking call. Nice call on Mark Williams. No one else was doing that. I hope you had some exposure and you kept it. Gino, good to see you. Rodney, yeah, exactly, guys. I think we're all on the same page here. That Mark Williams play was pretty freaking random. But outside of that, LaMelo Ball, we had exposure to him. Emmanuel Quickly was a core play for a lot of us. Miles McBride made sense when we found out Brunson was going to be out. PJ Washington was someone that we had natural leverage on. Pascal Siakam made a lot of sense once Fred VanVleet was out. Same story of Julius Randle. So there weren't a ton of surprises. I did have a family emergency come up, so I wasn't able to make a ton of changes. But, I mean, overall, I was just glad to not see Luka in the winning lineup because I was a little low on him. So any other remarks you want to make about yesterday's slate?
Siakam's been unreal.
Yes.
I'm playing him again tonight.
Spoilers, man. Spoilers. Agreed, though. Especially, is that, even if Fred VanVleet's in, you're still going right back?
Yeah, the dude's been unbelievable. He's locked in.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He's been unreal this season. He even had a ceiling game against Embiid. I think that was probably our warning sign to probably watch out.
Yeah. He's different this year.
Yeah, he's built different this season. All right, guys, let's start on this slate. Yesterday's in the past, starting new. Congrats to those who won, though. Let's get it today. Starting off with this game, the Wizards have not a ton of injury news, but a pretty big piece. Bradley Beal is questionable. Taj Gibson is questionable. The team that we really care about, though, are the Orlando Magic. I'll go through it. Wendell Carter Jr. is out for the suspension because of the fight. Cole Anthony out, same thing. Mo Wagner out, same thing. Jalen Suggs is out with the ankle injury. Mo Bamba out, suspension. Gary Harris out, suspension. RJ Harris out, suspension. And then Okiki and Isaac have been out for a while. For those of you that don't know, that is a long injury report. That is a ton of guys out on this slate. How are you treating the Orlando Magic today, man?
I mean, you got to love Franz, Paolo, Fultz, Bull. I mean, you got to love all those guys. Even Terrence Ross.
Yeah.
I mean, they have, 8 guys?
Yeah. They
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, guys. Schofield and I think Harris is suspended too. Pretty sure. Kevon Harris.
Kevin Harris, Caleb Houston, and Admiral Schofield, they're going to come off the bench. But
or did they stagger their suspensions?
Yeah, they staggered the suspensions. They'll be out. Wagner, Harris, and Schofield will be out next Wednesday. So yeah, they staggered it a little bit.
Still, those aren't really guys I want to touch anyway.
But Franz Wagner, Fultz, Ross, Paolo, Bol, like you said, I'll have a ton of exposure. This game's going to be the chalk. So this isn't sneaky at all.
Yeah.
But this is chalk that I'm going to eat. Are you kind of on that frame of thought? Or are you thinking this is a potential fade spot for you?
No, Bull at that price is with no big men backups.
God. I love playing Bobo, but I haven't over like the last month because I just couldn't. But you give me a reason to play Bobo, I don't need much. Like
No,
I
same.
don't care. I'm just gonna do it. So I mean, I think it's pretty simple. We know what we're doing. We're gonna have a ton of exposure to these guys. What about the other side of this? For me, I'm only really interested in the Wizards if Bradley Beal is out. If he's out, then I love like you're going back to Kuzma, going back to Porzingis. Of course, like we took our shot with Roy Hachimura last time. I think you can make a case for going there, but probably still not my favorite play on this slate with all the value we have. But do any of the Wizards stand out for you?
Only Rui if Beal's out. I'm not really on Kuzma with Porzingis in. That's just not someone I usually go to when he's over 8K. If he was cheaper, maybe, but I'd rather just play Paolo for 7.8.
That's gonna be like the answer to everything on this slate. Is like, we could just do this. And the reason why the Magic guys are more interesting, for in case you're curious, is because they have a higher minutes floor, and then it's also there's more upside with that increase in minutes. So it's just a very exciting spot for me, and one that I am looking forward to playing. And honestly, I'm going to try to be over the field on it as much as possible. It's going to be hard to be, but
yeah, you can get leverage elsewhere.
Yeah,
on a slate this size.
Exactly. Next up, we have the Suns against the Raptors. We have Shamet out for the Suns. Cameron Payne is out. Devin Booker's going to be out for a while with that growing injury, and then Cam Johnson's been out for a while. For the Raptors, we have injury news that we need to watch out for per usual. Fred VanVleet is TBD. Precious Achiuwa is TBD. And then Otto Porter has been out for a while. What are your thoughts on... Well, actually, we have a question from Chris Sizemore, who said, would you limit the number of Magic guys in a line? I'm not. If I have like more than 50% of my lines have like maybe 5 Magic, then I would consider limiting my number to 4. But honestly, I'm okay with 5 as of right now. But that's just me. What about you, Mutt?
Same. 5 on DK, 4 on FanDuel is fine with me.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to this game, though, with the Raptors against the Suns, for me, I feel like I'm more interested in the Raptors. I know you like Siakam a lot, but I'm more interested in them if Fred VanVleet's out. But I think he's probably going to play today, so there's not really a ton making me want to go back to this spot. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it comes down to Fred. If he's out, Scotty Barnes at that price playing point is very nice.
Yeah.
He got into foul trouble last night, so he should be fresh because he didn't.
Yeah, he got into foul trouble and he still did pretty well, right?
Yeah, I needed one more assist from him on Prize Picks, but we'll talk about that.
There's always one.
He needed one more. I'm like 4.5. I got it before Fred was out, so it was at 4.5. I'm like, that's easy money, and then nope,
perfect timing.
Foul trouble.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much how I'm treating them. The Suns, of course, like. I know Dwayne Washington saw less minutes last time out, even though he was performing well, which is really weird. But he has the highest usage rate on this team with Devin Booker, Cam Payne, and Shamet out. I think this is a spot we can probably go back to, especially if he's not going to be highly owned. I know we don't have a high minutes projection for him, so very volatile, not a safe play by any means, but I'm okay taking a shot here personally. Outside of that, I worry about 8 and a little bit here, especially if he's going to have some ownership, but his price is nice. What are your thoughts? Are you interested in this game at all? We could just pass.
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
I do like the Dwayne call though. If he with all the guard injuries they have.
Good. I was worried that was a little bit too much. I saw like the 2% number. I was like, okay, it's early. That might be a little bit too weird, but we'll see how things go. And we'll talk about it more on the pre-luck show for sure. Yeah, I think we can move on. Dog sees something. Next up, we have the Lakers against the Atlanta Hawks. Let's see. Of course, LeBron James is questionable. That's not new. Dennis Schroeder's probable. Lonnie Walker's probable. Austin Reeves is probable. For the Hawks, Trae Young is probable. Clint Capella's out still. Hunter's questionable. And then the rest doesn't really matter. How are you treating this game? Do you like this one a bit more?
Yeah, definitely better than the Suns game. I like LeBron here if he plays. Outside of that, not a ton. Maybe some Bryant Collins and some Okongwu. I'm still of the opinion that Okongwu is a fraud. But
wait! I didn't know that was your take. How'd you get
he's
there?
not that good. Like he's not. I'm sorry. Like I literally in the chat last week, someone was like, "Oh, you could play Okongwu tonight." I'm like, Kungwu sucks. And then I'm like, just because I said that ceiling game, that was the game he went for like 50. And I'm like, of course.
Oh man, I was hoping you called it the time he had like a floor performance. I was like, perfect timing. No. I mean, I'm not gonna say I think he's a fraud, but I do always worry about his minutes, especially when John Collins is healthy as well.
Yeah,
especially
that's
if Hunter plays. I'm less on board with Okongwu, but you can play him. He's 5,300. He has some ceiling upside if everything goes his way. I do like playing bigs against the Lakers, so I'll have some exposure to John Collins and Okongwu. But outside of that, I'm struggling a little bit. I like the LeBron James call. I think that makes sense. You can attack this Hawks team, especially in the paint. So I like it. But outside of that, I'm not loving too much.
Yeah, me either.
Do you have an opinion on Trae Young or DeJounte Murray?
It's a solid spot for point guards against the Lakers, but if they're both playing, it's just kind of
Like I always I don't really tinker with them too much. I just kind of, if they're both healthy, I'm like domination station. If you give me a little bit of exposure, I'm okay with it. Ideally, I'll have a little bit, but I'm not gonna force it. Next up, we have the
Fred just got downgraded too.
Who?
He just got downgraded to questionable. I just got the alert.
Oh God. When you said that was Braun or Young?
Fred. FVV.
Oh, okay. I was so stuck on that Lakers game. I was like, "Where's Fred on the Lakers, man?" But yeah, okay. Well, I didn't expect that. I honestly thought he was more likely to play, but I mean, we talked about it. Like Siakam, Barnes, a lot of the guys that we were on yesterday, you can kind of go back to potentially. So definitely an interesting spot there. Moving on, we have the Bulls against the Pistons. Alex Caruso is probable, so he'll be returning, which is nice. Patrick Williams is questionable. Kobe White, questionable. Javonte Green, probable. Derrick Jones, questionable. A lot of injury news that we need to watch out for here. No big names, but enough small pieces where I think it could make enough of a dent to matter. For the Pistons, we have Killian Hayes out for that suspension.
Here comes the list.
Yeah. Marvin Bagley, questionable. Diallo out, and then the rest doesn't really matter too much. Do you have a ton of interest in this game? Any guys really standing out for you?
I like Burks a lot in this game.
Burks?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it just like the matchup or his price tag, or what kind of got you on him?
No Cade, no Killian. He went off last game. If he gets minutes, he's productive.
Yeah, and we saw that. Like we literally saw it last game.
Even Bay. I like Bay in this game too.
Yeah, Bay also did well in that situation when Killian Hayes saw less time too. So definitely, I agree. I think I'll also have exposure to both of these. I like those calls. What about Corey Joseph? I know no one likes clicking on his name, but what are your thoughts on him?
If it makes something else work, I'm fine with it. But it's not that he's not someone I'm like actively seeking.
Yeah,
to play.
Like I'm hoping that I'll be around that like 10 to 15% range. I will not allow him to be in that like 50, 60, 70% range for me. That's just a bit
I'm
too
on board
much.
With that.
What about I know Isaiah Stewart hurt a lot of people's feelings last time out, and Duran was the guy who really performed. That was with Marvin Bagley out. With him being questionable, if he ends up being out, would you be open to taking shots on Stewart and Duran again, or would it be a pass spot for you, especially with the Magic game?
I think it's a pass spot. Just there's too much value elsewhere to. I mean, yeah, they'll get you your 25, 30, but is that going to do anything in GPP wise for you? Not really.
Thomas said on a 3-max or single entry, would you limit Magic players? In single entry, I haven't made lines yet, Thomas. We can talk about this again later. But at least as of right now, I probably wouldn't have more than 4 in a single entry line.
Agreed.
In a 3-max, I don't care. I do a lot of weird stuff in 3-maxes. But what are your thoughts, Mike? I know this is really your space a good bit.
Yeah, no, I'm fine playing 4 or 5 to them in SE because like you just need you want value. That's where
Mhm.
it's fantasy point per dollar is what NBA DFS comes down to. You get that and you have a prime spot like this, it doesn't come around very often. You can get different at your 4 other spots. You have 4 other guys that you can use for leverage. Take the points and move on.
And we didn't talk about this. You're more of a single entry guy, aren't you?
I do both.
Okay.
I do both, but I'm focusing more on SE right now, for sure.
Okay. Well, I always say like Mutt, Madness, you guys are like the go-to guys for single entry because your brains are able to understand it. For me, like my brain's just like, I need more. I feel like I need to do more. I always feel lost a little bit when it comes to like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Vucevic. Of course, DeMar DeRozan has been the guy so far this season. But do you have a lean on taking a shot on any of these 3?
If I do, it would be LaVine, just because he's really the guy who has that like 40 to 50 upside you want at that price. But with Caruso back, it's like he just takes away from all the other guards. And then he just gets hurt halfway through the game anyway.
It's like, well, you just took away their production for absolutely no reason.
And then it's like he gets hurt every 3 games.
Scare me a little bit off of some of the Pistons guards is just Caruso coming back. He is a solid defender, so it's just going to be a slightly tougher matchup. But they're priced well, and so that's why I don't really care too much.
Yeah, I think they might start. I feel like they're going to start Joseph too. And have Burks stay coming off the bench because that's been his role, but he'll just get more minutes off the bench. So he could avoid some Caruso. Then maybe you just hope that Caruso gets hurt again in the first 15 minutes like he seems to every other game.
Isn't asking for too much these days. Almost worse than Lonzo. Almost. Dave said LeBron birthday narrative today. Got here late. Oh, you're not wrong though, man. He's questionable.
I didn't realize
but
that.
If he plays, I mean, don't tempt me with a good time.
No, that dude's a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, what other? He's like one of.
He's gonna power through and crush.
He's what 38 today.
Yeah. Like
that's crazy.
And he's still like sometimes you see his age show a little bit, but like most of the time he's good.
But he's 38 and he's still a top 5, 25-5 guy every night.
Without a doubt.
There's 5 guys in the NBA that do that, and he's still going.
Like he's at least 10 years older than the vast majority of them. Wild. All right, we have the Timberwolves against the Bucks. We have Kyle Anderson questionable once again. Jordan McLaughlin's out. Karl-Anthony Towns is out. Taurean Prince is out. For the Bucks, Drew Holiday's doubtful. That's big. Chris Middleton's out. He's been out for a while. Any love for you on this game? I feel like this game's not getting a ton of ownership outside of Giannis because we can pay up on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy is always tempting in the 7K range with Cat out.
He's been in the 7K range for like so freaking long. I feel like it always makes sense these days.
He's a guy who could go out like this team. If the Bucks don't shoot well, he could go like 2015, easy, 50 burger. At what is it, under 5% ownership? He'll probably be on the leverage sheet tonight. So there you go. There's one of your spots. There's one of your spots you get different.
Yeah, and at 3, I agree. I don't dislike that call. I do know you can shoot threes on the Bucks. I'm okay taking some shots on Edwards and Russell, but not my favorite plays by any means. I'll have a lot of Giannis. That's a given. If Kyle Anderson's out, I think Naz Reid's viable, but again, not my favorite play with a lot of the other value I like, but I'm okay taking shots. Anyone else stand out for you? I know Pat Connaughton has had, well, he was awful last time out, but he's had some solid performances with Jrue out. Anyone else stand out for you?
If Anderson is out again and Rivers starts, Rivers is sneaky. He's been quietly pretty productive.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I remember I saw him have a decent game with Anderson out, and then I was like, ooh, I'm gonna take a shot on him, and then he was absolutely awful. And then the next game he was fine.
He's
so
volatile,
definitely
for sure,
a sneaky play for sure that has some upside. Chris said Gobert in a good spot. Yeah. I mean, at his price tag, Mutt just mentioned it, that he's on Gobert, and I think Gobert is interesting as well. Moving on, guys. Only 4 more games left. We have the Sixers against the Pelicans. Maxey is probable. I know people have been talking about him playing for a while. In this game, the Pelicans, they have Herb Jones questionable, Larry Nance is doubtful, Ingram's been out for a while. Anyone stand out for you in this game, man?
Embiid's
For me, not really.
price isn't too bad.
Uh-oh.
But with Maxey coming back takes me off Harden. That's the problem.
I know. Like, it's already like two pretty good defenses facing off against each other, so the matchup's not fantastic. And then you add in that Maxey's coming back, so it's really hard for me to try to take a shot on James Harden to have a ceiling performance in a really tough matchup and someone coming in that will impact his usage. Same story for Embiid. I think if I'm taking a shot, it would have to be on the Pelicans side of things. But even that's not looking too great.
No.
If I had to do one, maybe CJ McCollum, but I really don't love it. It's probably a pass for me.
Yeah, not with Maxey back. He's a solid defender too.
Ooh, Chris said Zion's last game versus Philly, he scored 68. That's interesting. For me, when I look at that, like I'm curious to see if Embiid was playing in that game. But that's still interesting for sure. Zion's always viable, especially this year. He's slowed down a little bit. He was trying to get into MVP talk for a bit, and then he kind of cooled off. Next up, we have the Miami Heat against the Denver Nuggets. So here's a long one. Per usual for the Heat, it looks like they won't have too much, but Jimmy Butler's probable. Kyle Lowry is not on the injury report, so he should be healthy. Caleb Martin, questionable. Gabe Vincent, probable. Dwayne Dedmon's out. Nikola Jovic, probable. Haslam, questionable. That doesn't matter. Nothing else really matters there. The Nuggets have Jamal Murray questionable again. Aaron Gordon is questionable again. Bruce Brown is questionable again. And Jeff Green's out. These teams cannot have a light injury report to save their life. It's wild.
Especially the Heat. Ever.
Yeah. So do you have any interest in these like Nuggets or Heat guys? I feel like it's just very TBD depending on the injury.
Yeah, it really is. Because, I mean, if Gordon's out, that's a nice boost to Porter. If Brown's out, Murray's out again, you can go back to Bones, but it all comes down to...
Chris said Embiid played 31 minutes in that game. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, for sure, when you find interesting spots like that, like, for me, I saw something similar with Siakam the last time he faced off against Embiid, and I was like, okay, so Embiid isn't shutting down this guy. It means that there's a chance Zion can have a ceiling performance. So there's a chance. Definitely, if you like Zion tonight, you can take your shots there. I have no issues with that at all. And like you said, man, if Bruce Brown, if Jamal Murray or Aaron Gordon end up being out, I'm more interested in this Nuggets team. I feel like I say it all the time. Like, Nikola Jokic is automatically more interesting to me if one of their four guys are out. I think Michael Porter Jr. is definitely viable in this spot as well. I don't like to pick on the Heat too much, and so that's why it's hard for me to love this spot. But if Jokic stays in single-digit ownership, he'll be a leverage play for me for sure. I think that's probably it for me on the Nuggets. Anyone else that we missed?
No, I don't think so. Because, like, I mean, Murray's solid at that price, but with Porter back, it just kind of...
Yeah. What about Bones? No, Bones is probably only if, like, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown. Probably just Murray, I think. What would have to be the case for you to have any interest in Bones?
Jamal and Bruce out.
Okay. Well, I think that makes sense.
If either of them are in, they're going to start, and then he'll be coming off the bench. And at $5K, I'm not paying $5K for him to come off the bench.
Yeah. And then any love for the Heat? I'm open to taking shots on Butler here if he's healthy and if he plays. He's pricey, but I'm okay with taking the shot at next to no ownership if that's the case. By lock. But that's probably it. Maybe Kyle Lowry. I like playing guards against the Nuggets, so I'll be open to that too. Anyone stand out for you?
Just Jimmy for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Solid price, and he's been playing well and he's been healthy.
Next up, we have a fun one. We have the Portland Trail Blazers against the Warriors. Nurkic is probable. Keon Johnson's out. Greg Brown is out. Winslow's been out. A lot of guys who have been out, like Little and Peyton. For the Warriors, we have Wiggins out. Klay Thompson appears to be healthy. He was not on the injury report, but you always have to keep an eye out for him. Draymond Green, probable. DiVincenzo, probable. Green is out. Iguodala is out. Steph has been out for a while. Anyone stand out for you in this game?
I like Dame and Poole. Just
Yep.
because I'm on Pool, just because he was supposed to go off the last 2 games and
I
hasn't.
know.
So now the day that no one's going to play him is going to be the day that he goes nuts.
Man, Pool has been a leverage play for me probably for like the last 2 weeks, and it hasn't really been working out. But I'm just gonna keep doing it because like the spot works well. His usage rate is there. He just hasn't been hitting the ceiling performances as much. So I'm totally fine going back there. And I agree with you on Lillard too. What about the other pieces here? Like for me, that's like where it gets a little bit tougher for me. Anyone stand out for you?
I do like Clay at that price. He has like the 50+ upside if he gets hot, but that's like you're making a rule not to play him and Pool together in the same lineup type of play
Nice.
because they
I
eat into each other.
Yeah, I do like playing Clay a bit more when they're at home, so I like it.
Mhm.
I like it. And I think that's pretty much it for me as of right now. What about Nurkic?
Nah,
No,
can't get
yeah,
there.
not a fan. Not a fan. Good. I like being able to bounce these ideas off because it helps me not say crazy things. All right. The last game on the slate is probably one of the easier ones. It's the Utah Jazz against the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings, only Trey Lyles is questionable. Not the biggest deal. Utah Jazz, no injury news. They're completely healthy, allegedly. Anyone stand out for you in this game?
I like Monk and GPPs.
Okay.
I mean, I always am.
Are you
He can
always a
get
Monk
so
guy? I
hot.
didn't know that.
I'm a Monk guy for sure.
Is it because for me, I'm always just like, the Kings have streaky shooters, all have exposure, but I doubt any of them will be like a leverage player or core play for me because in my mind, they're just all streaky. I wish I had like a guy. For a little bit, it was Keegan Murray, but he disappointed me every time, so I
He's
had to jump off.
disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Monk, and then I think Fox is due for a ceiling game.
he had one. He had a pretty
He's due
good
for
game last
another
time
one.
out. Huh?
He's due for
But it was
another one
also
at
on the Lucas
5%
slate, I think.
ownership. Yeah. Yep.
Let's
Markkanen's been
see.
killing it
Sabonis crushed too last time out.
with a broken hand.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like just his thumb, right? I think it's like his thumb on
Still.
like his non-shooting hand. But I didn't
It's
think they were gonna let
crazy.
him go out there. I thought like they would let him sit for a while.
Yeah.
Like, let the thumb
Olynyk's
heal.
going to go right for that thumb.
Who? Yeah. Kelly O's just gonna slap him and like
yeah.
foul out by the second quarter. That feels very likely actually. OS said, in a single line, are you looking to get at least someone from the late game on this slate? What are your thoughts on that?
I like usually having one, at least one, just because like when I've won big GPPs, it's because it's like a low-owned guy that's in the hammer game goes nuts, and then you just shoot up the leaderboards. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all about fantasy point per dollar. That's what you're looking for, and there's a few spots here where you can get that. Like I said, Fox and Monk, but it's not a necessary thing. But when it's right, yes, I do. I'm a fan of it.
And I think it's something that we used to talk about a lot at the start of the season on this show is that typically the last games tend to get overlooked a bit more. And so that's why more often than not, I'll have multiple leverage plays to the last games on the slate. And there are 2 hammer games on the slate. So a little bit more flexibility there than usual.
It's like a psychological thing too for some people that play DFS. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But like you see the same names in tournaments that put their entire lineup in the 7 p.m. games.
Yep.
So it's like they want to see themselves winning for like an hour or two. I don't know what it is.
No, it's funny like because there are some players that I only know who they are because I always see them at the top early.
Yes.
And I'm just like, well, you have no exposure to any of the other games. It's wild.
Congrats. You were winning $5,000 for 20 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you get the screenshot. You can show your friends and family who don't know DFS. I mean, there's that. Chris is saying De'Aaron Fox is in a great spot. Nice. Rodney, fellas, this must be a sign to switch to DK. I'm sure.
It'll be up soon.
Yeah. It's still early.
No, there was the text shot us that there's some provider issue.
Okay.
For
nice.
FanDuel,
So
it'll be up soon.
Chris said, I'm about to slide into Mutt's DMs for single entry help. You should, man. Mutt's great. And Toyn said, do you consider rebounds as a part of usage? No.
Mm-mm.
Do you? No. Chris said Fox scored, but you can look at rebound percentages, and that's something you can look at to try to get the peripheral stats. There's also assist percentages as well, so that's how you can look at the peripheral stats. Chris said Fox scored 70 last time versus the Jazz, but Sabonis didn't play. Yeah, good thing that you looked out for the Sabonis call. Jamie said it's just MMA, tennis when they stack. Nice. All right.
Pretty much,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty much everything for me on this slate. Anything that you kind of want to leave the people with, Mutt? You've already given a lot of words.
No, not at the moment.
If you don't. Hey, guys, well, I appreciate you guys for watching this and for sticking around. Look forward to seeing you guys on the pre-lock show later today. The pre-lock show will be at 4 p.m. today. It's Friday, so the tournament tactics show for the NFL will be at 5 p.m., so have to move this show up a little bit earlier. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're almost at 10,000 followers, subscribers. I forget which one it is. So that's really cool. Appreciate the support, guys. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.